Welcome to the show that never ends, ladies and gentlemen. The Philadelphia Eagles defeat the Denver Broncos today. My goodness, they moved to 4-6 on the year.
They bucked the Broncos.
They travel out to Denver. They win 30-13. Again, welcome to the All About the Birds post-game show. It's a little bit later than usual. We have kids and such. Got to do things. So we had to, push back a little bit. I did listen to all the post-game conferences. We're going to be live for about a half an hour. If you want to comment, make sure you are commenting on Facebook or YouTube because that's where the comments go. But make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Johnny, Mr. Positivity. Hello, sir. I'm going to give you the spotlight right away. Is there anything you'd like to talk about?
No, it's just a great game. All around offense, defense, special teams. It's a game we wanted to see. Jalen Hurts looked very, very well.
Oh my gosh!
But I think second half they didn't even really have to use him. They ran the ball tremendously. They basically doubled up what Denver Broncos, average per game, 98 per game. I think they had over 184, 185 or something like that yards, maybe more than that.
What's that? Rushing
yards.
213.
213. There you go. So it's a lot more. So the other thing was I saw the stat on the CBS broadcast that this was the third straight game of
214, excuse me.
3 players with over 40 yards.
Yeah.
And that was the first time it's happened since 1950. So again, running the football, being able to establish that to then be able to, go through the air. So all around, it was a great game. Defense, special teams, and offense.
You know what it was? And I just published the my grade book article. So make sure you're going to the AAT Sports collection of things, but you also find it on our website, AAT Sports Network. But I published my grade book, and here's the thing. It was a team win. Jalen Hurts looked sensational. Yes, he had an interception, and, I dinged him a little bit for that, but he looked sensational. His accuracy, he was completing passes. He was throwing guys open. His throw to Quez Watkins, which was the drop touchdown, which it was his best pass of his career. It was beautiful. He ran the ball well. He was decisive. Jordan Howard was the workhorse. Boston Scott was finding holes at opportune times. I mean, this team offensively did everything that Dallas couldn't do last week against Denver. And defensively, the defensive line still wasn't that much of an impact. The linebackers played much better. And the secondary absolutely shut the Broncos down. It was a team win. And special teams solidify the game. I mean, so when you want to talk about a good overall team win, it was incredible. And as Adam said, yes, they actually got pressure and they got 1 sack on Teddy Bridgewater. Just one. But he couldn't throw the ball because of the secondary doing their job.
Yeah. And the thing, they were getting pressure on him. Well, I'll give them that. They were getting pressure on him. And then, Javonte Williams is a heck of a running back, and he's going to be a star in this league on what he can do. And, he had a couple nice runs, but again, a couple of his big runs got called back because of holding penalties. So they were able to stuff a few of the backs. Davion Taylor, great game. He had that
great game.
And then Darius Slay with, hit some afterburners. He could run. He hit that. And of course, Teddy Bridgewater didn't want to have no part of even trying to make a tackle.
Well, so again, I was listening to the post game and I was listening to the press conferences. First off, let me tell you, Darius Slay is hysterical. He is so damn funny talking about his interception and not his interception, his fumble recovery for a touchdown. He's like, yeah, they had 13 personnel and it was nothing but fat guys. They weren't catching me. He said, he's like, there was nothing but fat guys out there. He goes, and Teddy, he's like, I went up to Teddy. He's like, you're not going to try and tackle me, Teddy? And direct quote, he goes, if he tried to, I was going to give him the stiffy. That means a stiff arm. But that was a phrase used by our sensational cornerback today. I was going to give Bridgewater the stiffy. It's close to 9:00, so we're close to past the family time. We're okay.
It's okay.
It's okay because Darius Slay said I should have done quotes. But I mean, all jokes aside, it was a really great game for the Philadelphia Eagles all around. It was a balanced attack. We talked about in the pregame having a more balanced attack. we talked about getting other wide receivers involved. Once they started keying in on Javonte, who only had 4 catches, let's call it like it was, only had 4 catches, Quez Watkins was the go-to guy. I do think the Dallas Goedert going out completely neutered the tight end group, which we also talked about how after Dallas Goedert, there is nobody else on that team as far as tight ends go because Jack Stoll's not it. The blocking went down. I mean, it was a noticeable decrease.
Yeah, you know,
the team played great.
You know, the team played great, and a couple injuries, like, you know, Ryan saying here, you know, glad Kelsey wasn't hurt majorly. That was kind of scary after Dickerson went down. One play, bad snap by Herbig. And then, you know, I wondered when Dickerson went out and then they put Opeta in, I was surprised. I was like, how come Herbig isn't in at left guard? But I guess he's the backup center.
No. So what ended up happening is Herbig was in. Then Kelsey went down. So Herbig had to move to center. Then they pulled Herbig off the field in case Kelsey couldn't continue to go.
Yeah.
Once Dickerson came back in, Kelsey came back in, all was right in the world. But that was more preventative for seeing whether or not Kelsey was going to stay in the game.
So the other thing, you know, a couple of tidbits that I hit on during the pregame was Denver's rushing defense the last 3 games.
Oh, you mean the top 7 ranked rushing defense? Go ahead.
They were 17th the last 3 games, and the 5.1 yards per carry, they were 31st, which that's definitely going to go up. But
a little bit.
The way they were able to attack the defense, and it was, you know, it was really good to see because, especially in the first half, because second half, basically, you know, they just ran the ball. They passed, I think, 3 times in the second half. So
again, they didn't have to. It was great.
The other thing is people, and I saw somebody tweet, it's Honest NFL. It's I guess a former scout that's kind of like behind the scenes, but he still gives a lot of good. He hit on something that was great. It's a lot of people like to only threw for this many yards instead of actually watching the game and watching the quarterback play and kind of knowing the whole situation. Like if you went and looked at the stat line of Jalen Hurts and saw, you know, 16 to 23,
178, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Those aren't great fantasy numbers.
Yeah. So you would see that. And I think he had 51 yards rushing or something.
14 carries, 53 rushes. His rushing was kind of neutralized though, because 31 of those yards came on 1 play.
Yeah. Which that was I like that play. And then you
know what my favorite part of that play was? Can I just tell you? My favorite part of that play was obviously, you know, he could have thrown the ball to Jordan Howard, right? Because Jordan Howard was open on the release. And the safety, I want to say he was number 41. I don't know who it was. But 41 comes down and starts following him. But he follows him with his back to the play. So as Jalen Hurts is running by full speed, this guy is just kind of going stride for stride and missing everything that's happening behind him, which is Jalen Hurts running with the ball. And there was no mention of that. There was no mention of that. There was no mention of the dirty hit on Goddard. There was no mention of the dirty hits on Hurts all day, or the fact that the hit out of bounds on Boston Scott should have been a penalty. But boy, when the Broncos ran for a big play, did Brian Gumbel and Adam Archuleta get excited?
Yeah. Or my one issue was when Noah Fant, he kicked Avonte Maddox. Avonte Maddox got up
did
and said something to him, and they throw the penalty flag for taunting. Come on. You know, they talked about ticky-tack fouls. Right there's a ticky-tack foul.
Well, they mentioned the ticky-tack foul when Boston Scott got blasted back to Philadelphia on the sideline. Oh, well, his foot wasn't quite down. It was, you know, but he took a huge hit on the sideline. So again, we know the announcers are awful, but come on.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And then, you know, it was funny, towards the end of the game, before they kicked that field goal to go up 17, you know, the Broncos stop Jordan Howard, and then their linebacker, Jonathan Cooper, is jumping up and down, flexing and stuff. It's dude, you're down by 2 scores. And there's
I love that. That's when I've always done this. I just point to the scoreboard.
Dance all you want, but you're still losing. You know, it was just a great, well-rounded game that, you know, and it's fun. The games like this are fun to then come after and be able to talk about.
Oh, it was awesome.
Because, you know, you got that with the Detroit game.
Yes,
and then now you give it with this game. So
and the Atlanta game.
And the Atlanta game. So the thing is, right now, you have to give it to Nick Sirianni, definitely, because what he's doing with this offense and what he is
Nick
able to do.
Sirianni called a brilliant game today. He
And
called
what
a brilliant game. And what I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to pull a Kanye. I'm going to let you finish. But what he's doing is at no point today did I look and I see him go, what the hell are you doing? He challenged at a time when it wasn't like a make or break situation. He goes, yeah, let me throw the challenge flag, see if it hurts me. It wasn't. He already had the game secure. It was a well-called game. Gannon called a great, I mean, the team overall, it was good. Anyway, you were saying about Nick Sirianni.
No, it's just Nick Sirianni, the game call that even the last couple of games, you know, what he's able to do with the offense. And it's looking like they're doing what fits the offense. The skills of this offense, they're doing it. And you want to see it. Run the ball, and they're pounding the ball. And it's not like they're only, you know, oh, they're just getting 100 yards. They're getting over 100 the last 3 games. And that's big. When you can run the ball like that, it opens up the offense to do so many different things. And I think that just tells you, you know, what kind of a team they can be and keep building off of this. And that's what we want to see. We're not here to say, oh, well, they have a shot to make the playoffs to do it. No, I want to see them keep building and get better and better each week. And that's what you want to see.
Peanut says, was today's Jalen's coming out party. So I don't want to say no, but it was a great game. Look, it was a great game. Now, with that being said, can he do it consistently? He's going to be going up against some teams over the next couple of weeks that are not very good football teams. I mean, moving through after today,
I'm going to say the this game against Denver may have been pretty talented. So those may be the toughest 2 defenses that Jalen's going to have to play against.
Right. The rest of the way, he's got the Saints next week, who, I mean, look, they're a good football team, but it's not a team that's unbeatable. No. And then you've got the Giants, the Jets, Washington Giants, Washington Cowboys, who most likely the Cowboys will be resting their starters that final week of the season, having clinched the number 1 seed in the NFC.
All those games, you know, I'm going to put it this way. All those games are winnable and losable. So,
all right, so let's do this. For the first time this season on a post-game show, I'm going to ask a question. Are the Philadelphia Eagles a playoff team this season?
Look at who's jumbled with them.
It's funny you say that. I just happen to have the NFC and AFC playoff picture as it currently stands. Would you like to know what's going on?
If you want to ask the question, are they a playoff team? Well, right now, if the season ended today, that'd be a no.
Correct, because the wild cards are the Rams, the Saints, and the Panthers.
Yeah. You know, if they can get to 8 or 9 wins, then sure, they're a playoff team. But don't give me
They've already matched. I mean, they already matched the win total.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, if they get to 8 or 9 wins, and hey, they make the playoffs. But if they're at 6 or 7 wins and they're on the edge to make the play, I don't want that.
That's why I don't want them to be that team that scrapes in because, well, we have 7 teams in there now. I don't want that.
But my thing is, let's keep building. Davion Taylor is getting better and better each week. TJ Edwards looks good. You know, Marcus Epps, you know, you're looking at these guys, you know, the Milton Williams and Teron Jackson, these young players. Then on the offensive side of the ball, Devontae Smith, Chris Watkins, Jalen Hurts. You know, you want to see the improvement of these players and to get better and better and better. And hey, if they end up being to wins as well, then hey, that's great. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. But as of right now, I would say no, they're not a playoff team. You know, you have a game next week against New Orleans Saints, who is in that 6th spot. You know, that there's a big test for you.
That is a big test. You can get the W at home against the New Orleans Saints, then okay, then you may have a little bit of conversation going to the next few games, being able to, you know, beat those teams. Otherwise, the only thing I'm going to say is don't just be like, oh, they're a playoff team.
understandably, I would be happy if they made the playoffs. I like when my team wins. But again, you want to see improvement from this team. You want to see a building of this team, because if they can build off of this season and then go into 2022, all this draft capital, all this salary cap, to be able to build a team to then go up against the heavyweights of the conference. That's where I'm kind of leaning here.
Yeah, but I have to ask the question, because here we are in Philadelphia.
I know.
We have to ask, and now we've strung together a couple. I mean, look, we're still 4-6. I'm not denying that, but the wins that we've had. Look, the Lions game, we had to win that game. They just tied the Steelers, who, I mean, the Steelers are worse off than us. No, technically the Steelers are a playoff team right now. Technically the Steelers are a playoff team. Excuse me. But they're not at the same time. We have a game next week against a team that is in contention for the playoffs, but that will start to go down pretty quickly the longer they keep letting Trevor Seaman play. And Alvin Kamara is being out. I mean, that's going to be a tough game to win, but it's a very winnable game. And then it's just a run against teams that are in the NFC East and the bottom of the NFC East. I mean, right now we are in second place. We are not overtaking the Cowboys. The Cowboys, like I said, I do believe will end up winning the NFC. I believe they will have the number 1 seed in the NFC when all is said and done. They are that all-around good of a team. Yes, the Packers, they won today. That was huge for them. Arizona, they're dealing with injuries. Fine. Dallas is going up. So we're not going to beat Dallas in the last week of the season unless they're resting all their starters. Washington is a winnable two set of games because Chase Young is out. The Giants are always a winnable set of games because they're a terrible football team. And the Jets are awful. With the last couple of games that we have, not only can we get to, 8-9 wins, but we can start having that conversation. It's still early. Until we get to 500, I don't even want to have the conversation.
Like I said, they are winnable games, especially offensively. If they're able, actually the last 3 weeks, if they're able to play the offensive football that they've been playing and make that into what they're doing these next handful of weeks, then these games are winnable. Absolutely. But again, like I said, this is the NFL. It's very weird. So,
I mean, I think that for me, looking at the stat book here, one of the things that stood out to me was, the leading tacklers for today's game. Anthony Harris was the leading tackler, which is not always ideal, but, the tight ends were having themselves a day. The running backs were having themselves a little bit of a day until the defense clamped down. Then Davion Taylor, then TJ Edwards, then Avonte Maddox. I mean, our secondary are back. I still do not see a stat for Ryan Kerrigan. It's almost comical at this point. It's almost comical at this point.
Honestly, I would just rather them see what I saw. One of the other linebackers, Alex
Javier Ryan Kerrigan did not have a tackle.
No, he did not have a tackle. Oh, but I did see JJ Arcega-Whiteside. Apparently, he's the tight end.
Tight end.
Hobble off the field.
The tight end, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, who, by the way, he went back into the game, which was great and all. I saw he went back in. But again, how little preparation do the CBS guys do for that NFC game? It was embarrassing.
They're Jonathan Vilma, Kenny Albert team. It was like the bottom of they're bottom teams. Like
it was Brian Gumbel and Adam Archuleta. Like Gumbel,
it's Greg Gumbel, not Brian. It's his brother.
Whatever. It's a Gumbel. Look, I can get things wrong too. I have a microphone. I can get things wrong too.
Actually, I do want to point to the mistake that I made earlier, and I kept making the mistake. It wasn't Calvin Stevenson. It was Calvin Anderson. Why I said Stevenson, I have no clue. So I wanted to bring that back up because I made a boo-boo on that. So I wanted to. And I
was furious at you for. I mean, that was just inexcusable.
I'll see you later.
Somebody's name who we didn't mention at all, which was, we talked about the weapons that the Broncos had. Alberto, which, we were told he was the tight end. He was the big guy. and he had a huge catch within the count shutdown. Noah Fant had, a good game. Jerry Jeudy we knew, but we didn't mention Cortland Sutton at all anywhere we talked about this week, this game.
They don't even use him. They don't even target him, which is pretty.
No. He had two catches for 29 yards.
He's a free agent, so he won't be back with the team. They don't even use him to his strength. Now, of course, their quarterback isn't the best. Would you want to go over what his numbers were?
Sure, I would love to. He was 22 of 36. For those of you keeping track, that's 61%, not 75%. If you listen to my Uleka lock, which is fine, which means Johnny finally got a Uleka lock right before we had to change the segment.
Hey,
instead of keg geese to the game.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. We may have to change it depending. Bad. I mean, I didn't get a whole bunch right this season, but neither of you. For 226, no interceptions, no touchdowns. I mean, look, they played well. Mm-hmm. The Eagles played well. The Eagles played well, top to bottom, and it was enjoyable to watch. Now, I will say, listening to the post game, I like post game winning Nick Sirianni a lot. When Devontae Smith was asked about his second touchdown celebration, which, if any of you have ever seen Major League 2, you'll know that it's you have no marbles, right? Nice. And he was asked about it right away. Hey, what was that? It's like, oh, it's just a saying that we have around the locker room now. I'm like, what's the saying? And they're like, well, we can't say it. I'm like, oh, it's naughty. I like it. I like it. I like it. So that was really great. But again, it was. And then Nick was asked the same question, like, yeah, what's this new saying? He's like, I'm a fan of the Fab Five in Michigan, and it's all cool. But my brother wants me to say it, but I can't because I'm like a professional. And I was like, dude, you're boring me. Like, just say the naughty thing. Say the naughty thing on the air. And he didn't. But it was fun. It was enjoyable. He was explaining, again, in the post game, he was explaining I'm gonna use the phrase and you see if you can figure it out without me explaining it first. A country fumble versus a city fumble.
Country fumble versus a city fumble.
A country fumble versus a city fumble.
Yeah, you're going to have to explain that.
So, and Nick Sirianni was the one who started explaining this. He goes, a country fumble is where, you see a ball laying on the ground, it's a fumble, and you're able to scoop and bring it around because there's nobody around you. Whereas a city fumble, there's so many bodies around you, you just jump on top of it.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Which I'm like, oh my God, that's so clever. I laughed. And then they asked Darius Slay right away, was that a country fumble or a city fumble? And he goes, probably a little of both, but it was laying on the ground and I wasn't going to. He goes, and I was scoring. He goes, I don't touch the ball enough. I was scoring. I was like, I love the swag when it's backed up by good play.
Yeah. And, you look at what they did. So defensively, 308 total yards allowed to Denver.
Okay.
212 passing, 96 rushing. Eagles did have 7 penalties with.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
You don't. It is what it is.
Oh, you don't want to talk about it? Because I want to talk about it.
It's like every game.
It's every game, and it's always him.
It's always
him. Look, I want to give him credit for the sack. I really do. But now he's been called for 6 penalties this season for 2 sacks.
So now I'll give you this, though. One stat in there that I mentioned on the pregame, the Eagles were 6 of 13 on third downs. Denver is one of the worst defenses on third down. And the Eagles defense held Denver 1 for 11. Right. That's there. Great. The game. See, because the Eagles were 28th in the NFL in third down, percentage, and Denver was 26. So 1 for 11, you want to see that. This team against the quarterbacks that they're going to be playing and the offenses they're going to be playing, they're going to need to be able to come up with stops and play aggressive. I feel like they played really aggressive, flowing to the ball, hitting the guy. The defense, it's a work in progress. We know that.
Of course.
Unfortunately, until you get better players all around and fill some of the holes that you have, this is what you're going to have right now. You're going to have ups and downs in terms of games, but like I said, the pressure on the quarterback is the biggest part, especially in the way that they play defense. That's going to be the crucial points coming into the finishing stretch of the season.
Right. And that's the thing. You know, this team finally kind of put together an entire look. The game against the Lions was great and all because they were a bad football team. The game today, you're going against a team that's really good. This team that they beat today is a part of a tough division. They're kind of all beating themselves up. They're kind of all beating each other up, which is fine and well and good and all. But you had to put together a good game plan and execute that good game plan, and they did. And I think that to me says more than anything else. Yes, the penalties were bad. I'm glad that they didn't end up in points because that would have been unforgivable. But overall, this team had a plan of attack. They went, they attacked, they did their job, and that was it. It was a good team game.
Yep. Okay. Get back home, focus on New Orleans. You know, big game coming up this Sunday at home.
Indeed. Anything else you want to say for the good of the word? Because I'm so excited that I want to just bask in this win.
So the last thing I will say, I did like that uniform combination, Bo. I will say
I did too, and they can wear it all they want.
I thought that was pretty stylish. I like that. I like that. I like the change up. So, you know, I'll definitely give them that. You know, I want to see some other combos. Maybe black with green pants. Maybe
I don't. So I don't want to get cute with it, right? The black on white, as British Ali is saying, you know, the black on white was sexy. I don't want to get too cute with it. I don't want anything that hurts my eyes. We tried the color rush, which our solution was, you know, white on white.
Should be green on green.
I don't want to bring back, you know, the blue and yellow, you know, Eagles jerseys. I don't want any of that crap. I just want the black and white is nice. I've always been a fan of the black jerseys and the black pants. Like, I think that's such a sharp look. But again, it doesn't matter because the Eagles beat the hell out of the orange.
So you're say it doesn't matter even if they're naked as long as they win.
What? Why you gotta bring nudity into this? Why you gotta bring nudity into this? Darius Slay is the one who's talking about stiffies, not me. That's weird. And on that lovely happy note, we got a great week of programming ahead of us. We have Chips and Dish tomorrow night. It is the 1 year anniversary of Chips and Dish. I have officially been on the air for a year. So we're bringing on the two of the drunk on broad gentlemen for that. Then followed by Tuesday, we have Burning Bridges. I'm not sure which creep. Oh, the stiffy thing. That was weird. Burning Bridges is Tuesday night. Then Wednesday, earlier evening, we have the weekly pickoff with Mrs. Chips and Dish.
I heard her.
Which means, also, that means because she always picks the Eagles and I picked against them this week, she's going to win this week. So good on her. Spoiler alert. But again, I'm excited that I can start picking the Eagles now because they've actually finally shown me something. Right. Wednesday night, then we will talk to a Saints podcaster, writer, person. So be on the lookout for that.
I think it's their. It may be the voice of the Saints, possibly.
Ooh, even better. I like that. And then Thursday is Across the Pitch. Friday's Birds, Beers, and BS. And then Sunday, we're doing this all over again as we're going to go head-to-head with the Saints. They might come marching in, but they are limping out of the link on Sunday. I'm Chip. That's Johnny. Yes, Javier, you said that they would win. So did the wife. You were right. We got a lot of great sponsors. We didn't talk about them. I'm just going to throw them up there real quick. All the links are in the bio. So we have Statement Games, a fun free twist on fantasy sports. Check out the link. The AATSportsNetwork.com/shop. So make sure you are checking that out. Manscaped. I did not put the new commercial in. It will be ready for you tomorrow. It's a brand new original AAT Birds commercial. I wrote a script. I executed a script. It is disturbing on so many levels, so be on the lookout tomorrow after my show for the brand new Manscaped commercial. Your balls will thank you. AAT Birds at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. La Terrain luxury watches, 20% off. Sorry, 10% off and use the code AAT Birds. And funkbrewing.com, the official brewery of AAT Birds. As we end every show here with Positive Johnny and Skeptical Chippy over here, we ended with a very happy-go-lucky Go Birds!